In November 2016, UFO expert Scott Waring warned readers of his blog that the Mars Rover 1 mission was being faked. Waring said footage supposedly caught by the probes was actually taken at Devon Island in Canada, the world's largest uninhabited island. With a startling body of evidence to support his claim, might Waring have discovered the truth about NASA's groundbreaking Mars mission? Rover 1 is NASA's ongoing robotic mission on Mars. It launched in 2003 with the probes Spirit and Opportunity. Currently, the mission has just one active rover, known as Curiosity. The mission's purpose is to collect enough information about the geology and surface of Mars to establish a human colony in the 2030s. Scott Waring's theories emerged after readers of his blog wrote in, claiming to have noticed many suspicious inconsistencies with footage supposedly collected by the rovers. They alleged earthly creatures, including bison, monkeys, and bears, were clearly visible in the images. These animals are all native to Devon Island. Waring believes NASA uses a red filter on images purportedly sent from Mars to trick people into thinking they were authentic. Finally, Waring points out how unlikely it is that NASA has successfully landed 3 rovers on Mars when no other country has yet managed to reach the red planet. Devon Island is the obvious location for faking the mission because it has a number of unusual Mars-like properties. Since 1997, it has been home to the Horton Mars project. NASA officially states that this international interdisciplinary research hub uses the polar desert setting and harsh climate of the Canadian high Arctic to mimic the environmental conditions that crew members are likely to encounter on Mars and other planets. NASA's exploration program is also based on Devon Island. This program is dedicated to developing new technologies, strategies, and protocols around Mars exploration and research. They even test their space rovers on the island, due to the geographical similarities its red rocks and barren terrain have with Mars.
Okay, Neil, we can see you coming down the ladder now.
Importantly, these claims are not without precedent. For decades, author Bill Kaysing has argued that NASA faked its moon landings as part of America's thirst for world domination. In 1976, Kaysing identified a number of issues with the photographs from the Apollo 12 mission, which suggested they had been faked. This included the absence of stars from any photos, as well as ripples in the flag, even though there is no wind on the moon. Amazingly, there appears to be no blast crater beneath the lunar module in any of the images either. It is therefore not a huge leap of faith to think NASA might fake its Mars missions too. Yet, despite being one of the most vocal proponents of the Mars Rover 1 theory, even Scott Waring himself has doubts. He notes that there are parts of the footage that cannot possibly have been faked. He says, "There is much in those photos that couldn't possibly be a place on Earth. How could such unusual artifacts exist on Earth and were never discovered by anyone?" Indeed, the allegations were first made by unidentified followers of Waring's blog, who are not experts in the field. Waring's own track record of uncovering shocking revelations about the Red Planet is also questionable. The same month Waring suggested the rover photographs had been faked, he claimed to have made the find of the century in images taken by the Curiosity rover. This appears simply to be a picture of a rock. But Waring says he identified an astonishing otherworldly etching on its surface. The alleged drawing was unique because of many things, like it being a figure, a woman in a dress, 2 arms and 2 legs, 1 head. This is one of the few carvings I have found on Mars that depict a human-like species. Likening it to cave paintings on Earth, Waring says it is proof that an intelligent alien species existed on Mars. But importantly, in order for this claim to be true, it has to completely contradict his other claim that the rover photographs were taken on Devon Island. Waring has not addressed this inconsistency. The rover mission is the most valuable study yet into conditions on Mars and its atmosphere. Given the extent to which data collected on the mission is used in modern science, faking it would be disastrous for scientific advancements. According to the University of Westminster astrobiology professor Lewis Dartnell, who designed parts of the European Space Agency's space rover, a hoax of this scale might even be impossible to pull off. Dartnell says, "The radio signals beamed back to Earth from Opportunity and Curiosity are picked up by an international system of radio dishes called the Deep Space Network. So if this was a conspiracy, then many different nations would need to be involved, and not just the USA. This is not the only issue with Waring's claim. Dartnell also points out that satellites like the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter can clearly see the rovers on the surface of Mars, and the tracks left by their wheels tracing out across the Martian landscape. Any planetary scientist around the world can request images of particular regions on Mars from these orbital probes. Like the moon landings, the extraordinary nature of Rover 1's interplanetary space travel has given rise to allegations that they must have been faked. However, in both cases, the evidence comes from amateur sleuths poring over photos for proof of fakery. There is no guarantee that anything they report is reliable. Nevertheless, the physical similarities between Devon Island and images from the rover probes are suspicious, given it is already used as a NASA research base. However, the extent to which the rovers are making huge breakthroughs in modern science suggests these similarities are nothing sinister. Scientists can observe the rover's activity on Mars and say the scale of the project means it could not be faked. Remarkably then, the Rover 1 project might really be the first breathtaking step towards human habitation on Mars.